Well, good morning. Good morning, everyone. I've been going over your questions of the night, and I think a little yesterday. And how are you all today? It is a pleasure to see you all in those ways. I was looking at this one lady that's got to travel around Nepal, Mongolia. I've got clients in Mongolia. I've got clients all around India. I've got clients everywhere. And it was neat to see that you've been in all these places. It's great. I'm kind of burnt out with traveling now. Flights and stuff, and then eating habits, and it just disjoins you, you know. But I love to see the people of the world. It's just so cool. This one question was on sea salts, and you know, I'm not opposed, I guess, to Himalayan salt, Celtic salt, real salt, where you have a full-bodied salt. That's your traces and micro traces, and it's more of a grayish salt, has all your minerals in it. Yeah, a little bit of that. I mean, I just don't think that's going to be a big deal. I like chemistry in its most complete forms for your benefit, but I can't imagine a little bit of that hurting you. This is a comment from Mashton. A little reminder that you didn't rebuild the lady's spinal cord. Her body did, right? Yeah, sorry about the ego. You know, sometimes I just get carried away going on down the line, and even the littlest things you don't realize, you know. There's no question that the human body is the rebuilder of itself, but if you push past that and understand that it's just limited states of consciousness, but all tied to consciousness, that, yeah, I mean, all life is a supreme being and expression, and so, yeah, definitely your body is the genius here. We actually just give it the goodies and the energy to perform its magic, you know. So absolutely sorry about that. This other question was about some chemotherapy this person had a couple of years ago. Yeah, I mean, think about how disgusting chemo is and how barbaric that practice is and how criminal it is. Because if I gave one of you guys Drano, certainly you're going to die or you're going to come close to it. And I would be then charged for that. So Drano, I don't know what the pH of Drano is. Someone might find out for me, but it's got to be between battery acid and hydrochloric acid, to be honest with you. I think it's probably more aggressive than hydrochloric acid, which is a pH of around 2, 1.8 to 2. Most acids that damage cells are 3 pH. 3 pH, around the 3 pH you have soda pops. Someone mentioned about, so was that water full of lava, something about soda pops and stuff. I mean, oh my God, here's another crime. I mean, soda pop, you know, you got carbonic, phosphoric acids. These acids, they suck calcium right out of the human body. And it's like, oh my God. When I was young, I was addicted to Coke. Addicted is a good word. I was addicted to Pepsi, you know, and then Dr. Pepper was also very good. And boy, I tell you, I didn't know. You know, I mean, that you just come along in society, and it was like someone was talking here in one of your comments about opening a door, and I think this was a new subscriber. Someone came on, and I really appreciated your comments. But yeah, I mean, we live, that's creation. Creation is the mind, and you know, you open one door, and then that world you play in, but all the other doors are closed because the mind can't be omnipresent. The mind can't be consciousness. It has to deal in states of consciousness. And so, yeah, I mean, this is one of the problems with creation in the sense of the drama, is that you're lost in your drama. And then when someone taps you on the back and says, hey, look over here, it's like, wow. So then you open to another drama. But to open up to the complete drama is to live in the now, as we've been talking about, and some of you are really getting that down good. And the practice of being in the now and stopping that mind, only sending your mind on a journey you want it to get. If you want your mind to go access some memory patterns from the past or to go figure out something, have it report back to you. don't go with it, because then you lose yourself, and then doors start closing. And so, enjoy the door of natural healing, because it's a huge door. I always thought, what a beautiful door to have government slam on it. There was a comment here about the LA's finest rating a raw food place. I'll tell you what, I've got a good paralegal there, and there's a lot of good paralegals out there, better than most lawyers, to tell you the truth, because they're really, they go that extra mile in research and things. But I'll tell you this, I'd be suing the LA and California for deprivation of rights. I really would. I would really give them one heck of a suit that's going to slap these guys on the wrist. And you might even be able to add a lot of different things to that. But deprivation of rights, constitutional rights, that way you can take this all the way to the Supreme Court. But definitely get into the deprivation of rights by states and by sheriff's departments and things like this, because this is a real powerful, and these guys need to be slapped on the hands. This sort of unconsciousness is what we're all about. I think of Mandela, and he was in prison for 26 years in a little hole. What a soul. But here I kind of get off on things a little bit here, but keep opening your doors, and that's the beauty about opening up consciousness, because then you start pulling to you like all of you great souls, and then we start becoming one. Tomorrow I'm going to try to come in and do a piece on spirituality here, and just what is spirituality for those that are maybe afraid of that word, or what does that really mean. And so I want to open those doors too, because the door of spirituality is really opening a door that's unlimited. In other words, we open little doors as we grow, and we look over here, here's natural health, and we look over here, and here's law and stuff, and we look over here, and here's all types of things going on, and then we open a bigger door, and we find, we have interplanetary beings around. I did a radio show for a year, I think I told you, with a Native American, and we talked to some very interesting people. I love the Hobies, but we were talking to this gentleman up in Mount Washington, and his website and his books are very fascinating about interplanetary visitors. I think Deepak was up there. So there's a lot going on that sometimes we're fearful of, or we don't we kind of shut off from, or we just don't think about it. But I think that you're going to find that when you open up the world of God, that it's limitless almost. It's even creation is so huge, and our little mind seems to have blocked our ego, has kind of blocked off some comprehension of the vastness of things. I always consider, like Star Wars, that bar in Star Wars where you had beings from all different walks of life, and I think you're going to see that coming soon. There's too much about that, I think. And an astronaut, I forget his name, just came out and was talking about the things that he's seen. And I think that it's important. And then didn't someone like, I don't know if it's the people that discovered the Atoshi or whatever, they discovered a metal round disc in the ocean. So a lot of neat things. I don't know. I think one always has to be with the self and protective, and then view life from a much broader perspective, which is consciousness. And so we're just going to play and have fun and open some doors. And for those that don't freak out, I'm actually don't care about creation at all. Whatever's out there, it's just nice to know about it. And but you don't take it in, because you always have to be the stability of the self. And this is for channeling. We'll get into the spiritual talking about channeling and opening yourself up when you're, that's not a good thing. You just don't need to open yourself up to other beings and other things. It's kind of, we do that here in marriages and relationships. Instead of maintaining our individuality and the other person maintaining their individuality, it makes for the greatest experiences. But we do that soul merging. Yeah, this comment, Magic Hummingbird, ooh, what a good name. MSM sulfur, my God, I tell you what, the blessing has been the iridology. I can tell you that I take my hat off to that surgeon that discovered it. And that's another area, there's a lot of, when you're dealing on this planet, even in practitioners, you have a lot of states of consciousness. So that there's good, there's bad, there's so-sos, there's all levels. I like the best of the best in every field, whether it's Qigong masters or chiropractics. I like an individual that's expand their abilities, that looks at all these different areas. A chiropractor should always know kinesiology. That should just fit into chiropractics. And then they can expand into detoxification and understand the lymph system more and the acids more and why you see the muscles pull the skeletal system out. And you just start expanding your ability to know. And the same thing with massage therapists. Understand what we're talking about here, and you understand the reality of what you're doing, and then you don't massage to the heart, you massage more toward the kidneys, even though you can't force the kidneys to filter the lymph system. But at the same time, you can tell your clients just what they need to do to help do that while you're working with them, giving them some relief. So there's all kinds of neat things, but we have to interconnect to the core. Naturopathy, true naturopathy, not naturopathic medicine, true naturopathy added with botanical medicine, changing that around like we've done here, you've got the core healing of everything. Everything needs to spring out of this core healing, because this core healing is how the body works, is how things are in chemistry, and is how things are in physics. There's nothing, I mean, you can expand on that core, but the problem with bringing the mind too much into the core is that you'll start adding MSM. Oh, look, they say this is really, really good. Is it really? As far as I know, very little with sulfur has to do with the regeneration of tissue. If so, it's a trace, because sulfur is such an acid gas, such an irritant, in my opinion, but it does help symptoms. The problem is, in the iris work, we see sulfur in so many people, and sulfur is a major fungal aphrodisiac. People that have a lot of sulfur, you're going to have a lot of candida or fungal problems in your body. And I mean, this is stuff like the nectar of the gods. This makes fungus procreate at 1,000,000 times its rate. I mean, sulfur's bad. I spent 40 years looking at this, and I can tell you, I've showed a lot of medical doctors, and they're going, wow, they see it too. So this is just hype. That's why I don't get into products. I don't get into isolation things. If we're going to look at anything, look at the botanicals. Why are we messing with chemistry? We're messing with chemistry because we don't know how to cure. We don't know how to heal. We've lost our simplicity, our soul view, and got into the intellectualism of it all. So you got to detox the sulfur out of you for sure. And remember, I said the other day, now there's a big company that sells these high-end makeups right on TV saying sulfur-free. Well, wait a minute. I thought sulfur was good for you. See what I'm saying? This is why I don't get into things. I don't get into machines. I don't get into things. I don't get into altering chemistry, because down the road, there's a warning, or there's someone says, whoa, no, whoops, we found that. And I don't want to go there with anybody. I don't want to be responsible in any way for harm of any of my clients whatsoever. It's just a little thing I have here. Do no harm. Question was about tonsil stones. Yeah, just detox. Tonsil stones is like any other stones. They'll start dissolving. That's clogged lymph. That's what happens. That's a good example of anionic fluid when you get stones. That fluid's coagulate in an acid medium. And it's just showing you that your lymph is backed up and getting stagnant. So you're getting stones. And that's common. It's kind of, a lot of people have them. Nasty, aren't they? Because that's the lymph system. That's the sewage department. And these are proteins a lot, so you can tell the putrefaction of those stones. Yeah, this comment about, who was this? NYXS60? Yeah, in iridology, and I've seen this, and I don't know how many eyes I've done. I know Jensen, he's told me he did over 300,000 eyes. I know I've done well over 100 and some. There's either two colors of eyes on this planet in humans, and that is brown or blue. And you're exactly right. I can show you many blue eyes that are almost all brown. And that's not good. brown eyes, brown in a blue eye is chronic lymph toxicity, and that's serious. Yeah, this brown has to come out. Orange in your eye is sulfur. So you can get a magnifying glass or get a real strong mirror, get a flashlight. And if you see orange in your eye, you can see orange in a brown eye. Much more difficult, though. That's why my camera is right up close to your eye, and you can really see things like that. And the photograph brings the colors forth, too. But there's yellow. Of course, that makes for green-looking eyes, hazel eyes. All these are blue eyes. A true brown eye will be nothing but brown, but you'll see shades of brown. And the lighter brown is probably your true color of your eye. But absolutely, the day or two after birth, your genetics starts registering into the brain, and everything starts changing. Your eyes change, everything starts changing to match those genetics. How interesting, huh? So much. There's so much we don't know. But we're wakening up. That's a good thing. Someone asked me about raw tomatoes. Yeah, I mean, they're the nightshade, like Dan with the IRA. Yeah, I wouldn't do any nightshade. I've seen a lot of problems with that. Nightshade and pain. It makes you wonder when you're hybriding a toxic plant family, just what are we doing here? But they're edible, I guess. I like a big beefsteak tomato myself, but I still feel the acid. I'm real sensitive to acids, and I can even tell them in a raw tomato. But, okay, raw salsa. You could get away with doing some organic corn chips as a cheat, and dried popcorn without salt, or unless you use the Celtic or Himalayan or real salt or something as a cheat. These are good cheats, I guess you could say. Someone asked me about coconut secret. I'm not aware of that, but if it's all coconut, I'm in love with that. That's good stuff. Someone asked me about, there's been recipes out there with mango and date and pear-based dressings on some of the raw salads. Yeah, I mean, could get some gas and fermentation from that a little bit. I know. I mean, these things taste good, and I suppose there's really no major harm in doing anything like that, of course. But certainly, if you could get some gas and discomfort from the fermentation. If you're a diabetic, I wouldn't touch that. I would really stay strict with the combinations until I fix my adrenal glands, or type 1, get into the pancreas or the nervous system that controls that, which is the adrenal glands. I would definitely stay with super good. Matter of fact, as a diabetic, I would stay real more mono eating, where your body's really just focusing on one single food at a time or two. And I definitely keep fruit in the fruit category, vegetables in the vegetable category, and of course you can't do starch. And I wouldn't do any protein. Protein raises the blood sugar, so you can tell me why that is. So you're right, but I mean, this is not going to be harmful like high protein diets and things like this. These things are known to destroy the kidneys and colon. I mean, proteins are, we have to get out of, the word protein itself is wrong. It's an illusion in terms of a needed nutrient, because it's a complex structure of amino acids. Yeah, we need amino acids, but I like when we get to the right verbiage, because this is how misinformation is passed. And so people get caught up in the protein myth, and then that's pretty soon they're echoing things that are untrue, and they just don't realize it. And then we have a lot of that in gyms and bodybuilding and stuff, and there's some sad cases out there now because of that. Yeah. Passio, yeah, thank you for the comment, my friend. Birth control, Queensland lace and wild carrot, eh? I'll look those up. I really am interested. Someone said pine needles, pretty acidic, but certainly estrogen is acidic, which is what women take to keep themselves aborted. But I'll look those up. I'm familiar with both of them. I've not heard them in a birth control issue, but I'll dig deeper on that because it sounds pretty cool. I think we come up with a good natural herbal birth control. We've got it. I mean, because this is what we need. This planet is getting heavily populated, and you can see there's no work, there's nothing for these poor souls. And these bodies, I think people need to spend some time getting their genetics rebuilt and their health built before they start having children, because I tell you, the medical profession aren't treating these children well. The mutation from surgeries and stuff on these children are just beyond almost comprehension. I know they probably mean well, but you can mean well and be unconscious, and at another level, it's destruction. So, you know, it's maybe why we talk so bad about it. I'd go after the LA's finest. I don't put up with that kind of crap. It's just, you know, we can't live in fear base anymore. We got to turn the cards around and know you're going to come after us, we're going to come after you lawfully. And we have a constitution that every state signed. I don't care what these states think. They are their sovereign states. We live in a country with 50 sovereign states. But interestingly, they all signed on to the federal, I hate to use the word federal constitution, the United States Constitution, and that does give you the right. So this deprivation of right is a good lawsuit. I'll get into OCD another time here. This is I'm 19 because my time, and I'm already over. Oh, these videos go so fast. Dadgummit. I'm 19 and I'm dealing with some emotional issues like anxiety, depression. Well, remember when I said if you're 19 years old, you can bet assured you have kidney and adrenal gland weakness? Well, honey, you're showing this right here. Now, depression is the parathyroid gland. Now, here's an interesting clue for you guys. All right, this lady, we know she's got anxieties. Anxieties, that's your autonomic nervous system, that's your adrenal glands. That's every time, that's a fact. That gives you anxieties, that gives you all types of emotional type issues. All in that vein. Depression, though, is flipping up to the parathyroid where you're not utilizing calcium. You look at all your depression out there, you'll see a lot of postpartum depressions. Remember we talked about Andrea Yates, and these guys are stuck on these antidepressants and stuff. These guys aren't doctors. These guys, they don't even deserve the degree. No offense, but this is wacko stuff. We got to get into the real biological issues of these cases. And of course, she's had 5 babies. It's calcium sucked right out of her. She's not utilizing calcium, and look at her. She's gone. She's easy to diagnose. Well, here's one that's fairly easy. She's 19 years old. She has depression. We know it's a parathyroid, but she's 6'1". Now, what gland do you think in your body deals with your growth? You know, we were giving growth hormones. Some guy called me, the FDA's after him, IRS is after him, and he was selling growth hormones in California. FDA told him at first it was okay and then said, no, we're going to arrest you for it. Well, the bottom line is don't give growth hormones anyway, you know, because they shouldn't arrest him for it because they told him it was okay. But still, growth hormones only serve to weaken what? Endocrine gland. Yes, the pituitary. So, honey, you're 6'1". I'm going to tell you, you were born with some pituitary issues that made your growth go a little high. 6'1", okay, but I can tell you that you're seeing the young people growing higher, taller, because we're seeing more pituitary problems. And then you see the depression, which is the suppression of the parathyroid, probably by the pituitary. In other words, you could hypothesize that this is probably it, and this is what we're going to do here in the future is take cases, and I'm going to keep going them over with you. So if you put your case here, I'm going to go over it, but don't feel bad, because if you come to my school, I can pick you out of the crowd, because you know we're all working together. There's no shame for anything. We're all working on each other's health, and so I'm going to use you as examples because you're a good learning tool. You're a good learning tool for yourself and for others. And so I'm saying that I see pituitary here. At least I'm real suspicious. She's too tall. Not too tall. Don't, but I'm saying you're tall, and really I see that's going. And you're thin. So here we go. We're going to look at the colon, because remember I said in iridology we've learned that the transverse bowel is tied to the head area and of course to the pituitary. Every time I see a pituitary weakness, I find a transverse colon weakness. Well, here is the probability of malabsorption. So we have to consider here, we've got GI tract problems, we've got adrenal and kidney problems, okay, and we've got depression, and this person is a little tall here. Nice height though, perfect height. You do yoga, you do qigong, meditation. Good woman. Yeah, I tell you, I like that. The balance of detoxification and weight gain, I tell you, there's almost no balance there, because detoxification is a process to get a thin person to the point that they can put on muscle properly. It's hard to do both at the same time, because when your GI tract has interstitial lymphatic constipation, you can't eat good and absorb because you're not absorbing. How do you remedy that? You have to fix the malabsorptions, and you have to fix the growth hormones, and you have to fix everything. You have to fix the cells, because remember, your body's nothing but cells and two fluids. So this is important that we keep going back to that, and there's going to be a time where you might be thinner than you like, but you know you're going to fix that. You know you're going down the road to find remedy to your problem. And yeah, we look and we see people get too thin or this or that as they go along, and sometimes the pains and sometimes the rashes all over the skin. Yeah, not always fun. I tell you, it's not always fun, but if you want to get at the level of tissue regeneration, which is what I suggest, you're going to have to ride some wild horses out here, or donkeys, or buffalo, and take the ride. And so, okay, I'm done.
She can call from Canada.
Okay.
She can't call back.
All right, I'm done here. All right, I'll finish up. I've got a real tyrant out here that's really on me, so I'll finish this up. I will say, the omegas. I'm into the fatty acids of the fresh fruits and stuff. You can take some omega 6s and 9s or whatever. I don't know. I don't care about fish oil one way or another. This person with uritis, and I'll address that again. Uritis, detox your urinary tract, get your kidneys filled, and it just shows you're having kidney filtration problems. Fix the bladder up, get into this detox, get the kidney formulas, and you'll be okay. Got a cough coming in from Canada, got to run. I so apologize. You see my mango? I got a bunch of these babies, and that big, I got them even bigger, but those were getting kind of ripe. I didn't want to bring them, but we got some big mangoes down here. I just got there too late to get them too ripe. All right, I'll see you all. Thank you. Have a fun day, and tomorrow I'll do a video on spirituality. Thank you all. Bye-bye now.